See, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here, you're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
My next guest has got a huge fight coming up here against Darren Elkins, UFC Fight Night, December 3rd. It's JSP, Jonathan Pearce, back here on the program. JSP, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
I am doing awesome, but not as good as you, though, man. I knew if we were talking about a fight book, that meant that you got a new contract. That was something we talked about last time. Congrats, man. I assume it's a 4-fight deal?
Yes, sir.
That's great.
Excited.
And I'm assuming, or I would hope, a little bump in pay as well with how good you've been looking, right?
Yes, sir. Got that third contract, working on the fourth. Just enjoying the ride, you know.
What does that mean to you, man? Some fighters don't even see past the first contract. You're here on number 3. You've been performing really well. Have you been able to kind of soak all this in?
Yeah, it's been a lot, like, for me. And, like, I saw Christian come in, and, like, he really needed to win that second fight after he fought me. And we were happy that he went and got the $50K, so he gets to stay down there and do it. So, like, a lot of us that are on our second fight, we really need that win to be able to financially to still do it.
An added bonus, you're fighting Darren Elkins, man. This has got Fight of the Night written all over it. How excited were you to get Darren as an opponent?
Oh, yeah. I wanted all the legends I could get. If he was I would have liked to got him a few years earlier, but you don't pass up what you get. Take what you get.
When did you find out about the fight? It looked like you got a full camp.
About 10 to 12 weeks out from fight day.
Okay.
So we've been going at it pretty hard now.
And how long you been back in Arizona? Because I know you do go back and forth, right?
Yeah, I only go back home for like 2 weeks after the fight. So I primarily live in Arizona, so I'm pretty much in camp all the time. So I'm really excited about this one. I feel like the last camp and this camp, we're running kind of the same. But this camp, I feel like he's going to have a little bit more heart, a little bit more cardio, a little bit more seasoned veteran.
Yeah. And style-wise, how are you looking at this one? Obviously, he's called the Damage because he's a tough guy to take out. How are you looking at this fight from a style perspective?
My goal is to finish this fight. Let's test his chin. I know everybody else has already, but let's see if I can get – my goal is to not let it go 15 minutes and try to get that KO or TKO.
Training camp at Fight Ready. Your gym's on a roll lately. Who you mainly been working with? Who's been helping you get ready for this fight? For
this camp, I've been working with Bryce and Bobby. I just sparred with Junior Cortez today. Just a little mix of Baljean that was on the road to UFC. So we've been working a lot. A lot of guys that are on the cusp as well. So,
how's the Wolfman doing, by the way? You're talking Bobby Moffett, right? That's who you're training with?
Yes, sir. He actually just took a short notice fight, so he has pulled back from the camp, and Bryce has came in, and he's going to fight at 160 here, I think this weekend or next weekend, and then jump back into camp.
That's good. Well, you still got plenty of time before the fight, so I'm sure, if all goes well and he's unscathed, he could probably jump back in camp and help you out, right?
Yes, sir.
There you go. That's always good. How's we got lots of time before the weight cut, but when does the weight cut start for you? I was always curious about that.
I do pretty good at it. I wouldn't say I'm a huge 45er because I'm tall and skinny, but I'm one of the bigger ones. It's not really a hard cut for me because I've practiced it a lot, but I still got like 18 to go or something like that. So it's not that bad. If you get down fight week and you're only cutting 10. So.
And then as far as your corner, I imagine, will Eddie Chaw be in there? Who's going to be in the cage with you on Fight Night? Do you know yet?
Eddie Chaw, Santino, and Bobby.
Okay. Yeah. Keep it the same, right? You don't want to mess anything up, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're winning. And you said it there, a finish. How do you see the fight playing out?
I want to keep it standing. I want to keep them off my legs, keep them away from the submissions, and keep them at bay and just have striking practice. Like target practice all day long. Try to keep him at distance, and then if he wants to come in, then I'll welcome him in like I'm Amir Khani. So I can wrestle too, but if you're gonna wrestle, I'm gonna strike you, and if you're gonna strike, I'm gonna wrestle you. So that's kind of my game.
We talked about Darren Elkins being a pretty notable opponent, even at this stage in his career. Does that get you that ranked opponent next? I know you're not too concerned about that stuff, but I imagine, you kind of look at the implications of a win here, right?
I think in this game, you get what you ask for. Like if I want to fight top-notch dudes, they're going to give me top-notch dudes, especially where I'm lower on my contract. So it's better for business. Why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? But with that being said, I got to look out for myself. And when I get there, I got to ask for what I'm worth. But yeah, I think I deserve a top 10 at most, you know, and we'll see what we get. I have a naming plan, and I'm going to try to announce that after the fight, you know, so.
Okay. Do you ever talk to Cejudo at the gym about, you know, trash talking and all that stuff? Because he seems to be pretty good at it.
This ain't no GSP. This is JSP. You know?
So there we go. Okay. Yeah, you got your own style, right? It's kind of got to be your thing. Huh? So that makes sense. And speaking of your gym, I saw Eric Anders was on Cobra Kai. Would you ever want to do any acting?
Oh yeah. I think acting would be a little bit harder than fighting, you know, especially for a country boy like me. But
really, what's the most intimidating part of acting? What do you think would be so hard?
I think if I was playing a Southern like role, then I could do it really well. But if I had to play something out of character, then it's going to be hard to play something that I'm not usually in, you know. So,
right. Yeah.
And that's not something I practice. So.
Yeah, no, I get it for sure. In Arizona, I know, obviously, you know, again, I know you live there most of the year, but what do you get up to when it comes to, you know, getting that little bit of free time? I'm sure you're cooking. I'm sure you're going for hikes. What do you get up to? Do you watch any TV at all?
Yeah, I'm into The Alone or Stranger Things was a big show for me. I like to fish. I like to hike. But really, I'm just enjoying training and just being out here. And like, you know, we got Gaslam in the gym. We got big names in the gym. So like to come to work is like a treat too, you know, so.
How long has it been now at Fight Ready? You've been there a couple of years, if I remember, right?
Ever since Lozon. So.
Oh, really? So after that fight. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So right after Contender, I moved over and then I took my Lozon camp there and then that didn't really go my way, but been there since then.
Yeah. And, you know, have you kind of looked at the sacrifices you've made, again, leaving home, living in Arizona? Don't get me wrong. I'm sure the weather's amazing over there, but still, I know it's tough leaving friends and family. Have you been able to kind of look back on that sacrifice and seeing the dividends and a new contract and all that?
Yeah. We're always hungry for more, you know, like no matter what you get, I think that's just a part of like the human nature of surviving. But, I want more out of this. I'm willing to work for it, and I'm willing to sacrifice more. We're just where we're at in the journey right now, and I'm enjoying it. And hopefully, we get a top 10 next. You know.
I talked there about Volkanovski likely fighting for the lightweight title next. It kind of seems that's what they're aiming at. What do you think should happen with the featherweight title? Should they keep it? Should they do like an interim title? Like, as someone who's in that division, what would you like to see happen?
I think what's going to end up happening is I think Volkanovski will get hurt and then he won't be able to defend it like he wanted to. And then that's going to crash and burn for him. I don't know. I mean, like, but that's what I see. And then I think Arnold Allen's going to end up being the champ. And then that Arnold Allen or Evil or Bryce Mitchell, like in that area, those younger guys are going to be one of the next title holders. And that's probably who I'm going to have to fight for the title, not one of the older guys. Unless Volkanovski comes out unscathed and then stays at 45 active. That's the only way that's going to happen, I think.
I've heard a lot of people mention that, and I agree with you. A lot of the up-and-comers in your weight class are definitely very threatening. But two names you didn't mention there, Josh Emmett and Yair Rodriguez, do you not see them getting back to, well, Emmett's never fought for a title. Rodriguez hasn't either. Do you see them in the mix as well, or do you think those guys that you mentioned would probably defeat them?
I think Arnold Allen and Evil are the two toughest young guys in the division right now. They've been there the longest, and they're the youngest for being there the longest. So I think they got the most experience with the less damage on them, if that makes sense. And I think that's why those two guys are going to run up to the top, because if you look, you got Yair, he's older, he's kind of injured. Brian Ortega just tore his shoulder. Calvin Kattar just tore his knee. And then Dan Ige lost his last 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some people that are stuck and they're not going to want to fight unless they're ready, you know? So it's kind of stagnant right now, and I think it's ready for the young bucks to come in there and kind of shake it up a little bit.
And we're looking forward to your fight, man. UFC Fight Night, December 3rd. JSP, thanks so much for the time, man. I always appreciate you taking it. If there's anyone you'd like to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media. And by the way, I just peeped your Instagram. I don't know who makes those shirts for you, but those look awesome. Let people know where they can find those as well.
You can find them at jspmma.net. I want to give a huge shout out to No Mercy, No Quit. I want to give a shout out to Fight Ready. I wouldn't be here with these black guys and, on a 4-fight win streak, living my dream. Without those guys, I'm very thankful for everybody on the team, coaches and fighters. I also want to thank everybody back home in Tennessee, from wrestling to fighting, all those people, because the ball's starting to roll and we're starting to make some momentum. So I'm just real happy to be able to give a shout out to everybody.